Welcome back via Zoom. I'm here with Peter Visscher. He's the general manager of Canadensys Aerospace. Peter, thanks very much for joining me.
That's my pleasure.
So you have a head office in Bolton. Why Stratford?
Well, I joined the company about 4 years ago, and I live in the area. And when I joined the company, a few of my colleagues at the time came with me and joined at the same time. So we have a lot of a history in the area of designing like advanced vehicles and stuff like that, off-road vehicles. So it's made sense to open up a branch in the area and continue with that work.
Perfect. I know as of late, you have an announcement from the Canadian Space Agency. What are you able to share about that program that you guys are doing with that?
Well, we have a lot of ongoing contracts with the Space Agency. Our company develops lots of cool hardware for anywhere from low Earth orbit, so just at a few hundred kilometers altitude, all the way to hardware that's developed to work on the surface of the moon. And this includes things like cameras and vehicles and rovers and stuff like that.
What is deep space?
Deep space is past low Earth orbit. So I'm not sure where the exact transition is, but the moon is definitely deep space. So you're in, there's more radiation. It's farther from Earth, so it takes longer to communicate with whatever you got out there. And it's just really harsh.
Now, also your company does things in the commercial space. What kind of stuff are they doing? One of them is for jungles and stuff.
So we don't just do contracts for the space agency. There's also a growing market for commercial space hardware. So there's some commercial flights happening over the next number of years. NASA funds commercial companies to build landers for them, and then other commercial entities pay them to do the landing. So we've got cameras on a lot of those missions happening in the next 2 to 5 years. We also have a vehicle development group that has nothing to do with space, where we develop military or industrial vehicles for use right here on Earth.
Right here on Earth. Yeah, very good. That's pretty practical. Okay, so right here on Earth, I know we're coming out of winter and into spring soon. How do you test for these extreme temperature differences between here and deep space?
Yeah, so it's a great question, because it's on the surface of the moon. When the sun goes down, it stays down for about 10 to 14 Earth days. So the nights are very long on the moon, and it gets colder and colder and colder, all the way to about minus 180 Celsius. That's very difficult to test here on Earth without a TVAC chamber or a thermal vacuum chamber. So yeah, we take the hardware, we try to operate it while being inside one of these TVAC chambers. And it's not just the cold, it's also the hot as well. The moon gets quite warm when the sun stays up for another 14 days.
Right. And some of the things you talk about or deal with are nano class and microclass. What are those things?
So a nano class is generally something like on the order of a few kilograms. So if we have a nano rover, that's generally less than 10 kilograms. So 6 or 7. A microclass rover is something in the order of 20 to 50. Something
Okay.
like that.
Kilograms. Most of these, I assume, are autonomous or they're remotely controlled. How do you do that from Earth to something so far away?
Yeah, that's another great question, because it's the moon. It takes about 5 seconds for the information to get there and back. There's a bit of a delay with the equipment and with just the light to get there and back, the radio waves to get there and back. So we, for the moon, we can give it short commands. They just, drive ahead a few meters and then stop and wait. But we also use some level of autonomy to watch out for hazards, so we don't accidentally drive into a rock or drive off a cliff or anything silly like that. For vehicles on Mars, it takes like up to 20 minutes to go back and forth. So that's a bit trickier.
Yeah, I just wish my email was 5 seconds there and back some days. In terms of Stratford, is there any vehicles that are used for just normal application, or are they all in these extreme environments?
We don't have anything that's used on the road. Some of what we'd call the more normal stuff might be a vehicle that helps with firefighting, or something even the defense stuff, we don't. Well, we move supplies around. So one of our vehicles moves supplies from, make sure the soldiers have enough food and water and fuel, all that good stuff.
In a completely autonomous environment?
Often there's increasing levels of autonomy. Yeah.
Peter, thank you very much for letting us know what's going on in space and in Stratford. Really appreciate your time.
Again, it's my pleasure.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Eddie Matthews in the Chamber of Commerce.